sampling that we're going to need for the project that we're running with the Riv Farmer Cluster. So there's two different types of soil samples that we're going to need to take in each of the fields that we select. The first lot of samples that we're going to need to take is very much to do our analysis around soil organic carbon. And for that, you're going to need your auger and you're going to need 3 buckets for the 3 different depths. Okay? Now the 3 buckets that you have are going to be relevant for the 3 different depths that we're going to take the soil samples at. So the fields that you select to do the sampling in need to be 15 hectares or less. If the fields are more than 15 hectares, then we need to subdivide the fields so that we're not trying to take a sample that's taking account of a big area of the field. So once we've got our auger and once we've got our buckets, we're then going to walk off across the field. So the auger that you have, you'll see, has got different lines down it. Each of these lines represent 10 centimetres. So when we find the spot that we're going to put the auger in this field, we're going to put it in and we're going to push it down to the required depth. So get it all the way into the soil, give it a bit of force, keep going all the way down until you get to the required depth. You can twist it if you need to and just get it in so that it keeps going down into the raw soil. Okay, once you've got to the required depth and you've got your bucket, so we can see here that we've got a bucket that's marked 0 to 10, a bucket that's marked 10 to 30, and then another bucket which is for 30 to 50. Once your auger is at the required depth, you then pull it out and then you can see the soil at the required depth. So you can see here that we've got 0 to 10, 10 to 20 and then 20 to 30 further down. So we're going to put the lower amount in the deeper bucket, then we're going to put the next level in the 10 to 30 bucket and then the top bit in the 0 to 10 bucket, and you can use the end of the auger to scrape it out. Now we didn't get a huge amount of lower depth within that auger, so I'm going to go back into the hole again and see if we can get any more of the deeper depths out. You need to repeat that activity about 15 to 20 times across the field to make sure that you've got a good representation of those field conditions. So take your auger and your buckets, move to the next spot, insert the auger again, put the soil into the different buckets and continue to do that, as I say, between 15 and 20 times across the field. At each of the locations where you stop and take the sample, you need to make sure that you record the GPS coordinates. There are various different ways to do that. You can use the What3Words app, which is a free app that you can put onto your phone and record each of those 3x3 metre squares that you take the samples in, or you can use the inbuilt GPS within your phone. Whichever one you use, just make sure that you then, at the end of the day, send me those points where you've taken the samples. So once you've completed all of the 15 to 20 auger points across the field, you then need to take those buckets with the soil and then put them into 3 separate bags. So for each field, we should have 3 bags for carbon sampling. We should have a bag from the depth 0 to 10 centimetres, a bag for the 10 to 30 centimetres, and then a bag for the 30 to 50 centimetres. So on those bags, what you need to do is you need to label them with the field name and the depth. And then if you just write SOC on them, which stands for soil organic carbon, I'll then know what we need to do around making sure that they're going to get analysed. So field information and depth information on those bags. So for each field, you should have 3 depths of soil, which should then equate to 3 bags of sample that need to go off to the lab for analysis. So once we've completed all the sampling and we've got the samples that will go off to the lab, we then move on to the soil health assessment. Now, how much of this you do is completely up to you, but there is one test that we really need you to complete in order for us to be able to calculate the carbon stuck on the field. And that's why you have these bits of equipment, which is a mallet and a bulk density ring. So you're going to need In each of those locations, we're going to dig a hole, and we're going to dig a hole which is a spade's width by a spade's length by a spade depth. Look like we've got any areas that are visibly compacted, or does it look like we've got roots that are going all the way through our soil particle, all the way through our soil profile really nicely? We have a visual evaluation of soil structure score, and I will send a copy of the scoring criteria along with this video. Look at how it smells. Look at what the roots are doing, and look at the colour of our soil. All of these are really good indicators of how healthy the structure of our soil is. How does it break apart? Is it nice and crumbly, or are we seeing that actually it's quite difficult to break it apart? As you're breaking your soil apart, you can also start to see if you can identify any earthworms within your soil. So as you're starting to break through that soil profile, keep an eye out for any worms. When you see those worms, we want to keep, so here we can see some in here, we want to just count the number of worms that we've got within that spit of soil. So we can put them on our spade, and we can just make a note of them at the end. So looking at things like soil structure, looking at the number of worms that we've got, and actually starting to focus on how our soil is put together are all really important things to look at alongside the health of our soil. If you don't have time to do that, don't worry, but the one that's really important is our bulk density. And in order to do our bulk density, we need to use the bulk density ring. This is what allows us to then be able to calculate the carbon stock within our soil. So what we need to do when we've done our soil profile is we need to put that bulk density ring into the side of our soil profile and hit it in. It needs to be flush with our soil. So we can see that I've hit that right in. That's that 0 to 10 centimetre horizon. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my spade, and I'm going to hook that bulk density ring out, making sure that I'm trying as much as possible to keep that core intact. Oh look, we've got a baby worm in there as well. So once you've got that core out, we need to shave off the edge of that core to make sure we've got a nice flush shore. Then we need to push that out into our sample bag, and then label our sample bag with the field name, the bulk density, so BD, and the depth 0 to 10, and then that needs to go off to the lab as well. And for each field, we need one of those bulk density measurements at each depth. So that is our 0 to 10 centimetres. We then need to do a similar one at 10 to 30 centimetres. So exactly the same as we did with that one. We need to put that bulk density ring back in the soil at that deeper depth, hammer it in, take it out, and then again put that intact core into the bag, label it, and send it off to the lab. As we did when we were taking the soil samples with the auger, also make sure that you note the location of your holes to make sure that we can then return back to those holes in the future to have the same sampling sites. And that's it. Happy sampling. If you have any further questions or would like to chat any of the methods through again, please just get in touch, and I'm looking forward to seeing the results.